You're listening to the See the Unseen podcast, where our number one focus is creating a little visibility for people who deserve a whole lot of spotlight. I'm your host, Melissa Georgioff, and I'm here to share some amazing stories that can transform and inspire lives. So get ready to take those blinders off and see the unseen. Welcome to the podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about the top 5 ways that you can build career confidence. The reason this is really on my mind today is that I had a former colleague who I have worked with for, 25 years or so, reach out to me yesterday, and unfortunately, her job was eliminated. And she has so much experience. She's worked for the largest payer in the country. So the largest health plan in the country. She's done national contracting. She's done claims. She's led a team of like 30 people. She's amazing. Okay. And she is just kind of down in the dumps. And she lost her job, and her confidence is just not where it needs to be. And I know how this feels because I lost my job after 30 years in the complex wheelchair industry, and it was pretty devastating, I would say. So I want to talk about 5 things, and this is really on my mind, it's on my heart. That's why I wanted to share it today. Is that there's a top 5 things that you can do to help build your career confidence. Number 1, I would say master your craft. So I spent 30 years in the complex wheelchair industry in managed care contracting, and I helped a company, grow from 5 million in revenue all the way up to almost $1 billion, and did a lot of different things along the way. I did customer service, sales, marketing, IT, compliance, quality improvement. I did payer contracting, legislative affairs, regulatory affairs. I led a team of 20 plus people in payer contracting, or what we called payer contracting, prior auth type department, licensure and credentialing. And then I was the senior team lead for New Motions Women's Network, along with our chief legal counsel. And we had about 600 women that we mentored and coached. And so I tell you this not to impress you, but to impress upon you that sometimes we forget what we're good at. Right. So when I lost my job, I was kind of like, wow, I've almost mastered at managed care contracting. I've negotiated over 2,000 payer agreements in 50 states. I worked on legislation in a bunch of states. I've lobbied at the federal level. So I was thinking, what do I do next? I pretty much felt like I had mastered my, managed care contracting. Now, I really haven't mastered it. I can tell you that in healthcare, everything is always changing and you're always learning something new every single day. But the more that you can learn about what you do and become the best in your field, the more confidence that you're going to gain. And so sometimes we almost have to be reminded. And this woman who called me yesterday, I had to remind her of like, look, you're amazing. You know so much. And she's like, I think I'm a jack of all trades. I know a little bit about everything. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's what makes you great. You could do consulting. You could do this. You could do that. And I think really my superpower is helping people find the confidence that they need and see it within themselves. Because she made a comment to me that says, I could advocate for other people and I can talk, great things about people, but she's like, I can't see it in myself. You see what I don't see. And I think that is probably some of my superpower, is that I can see what other people don't see. When people come to me and they say, well, I don't know what to do. I can't do anything. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you're great at this. You can do this. You can do that. So I think that, if we can remember to, whatever field you're in, if you're in healthcare, if you're in the financial world, whatever you're in, if you can learn a little bit each day and just get a little bit better and better every day, because I have news and I want to break it to you here, guys. Not everybody has the answers for everything. So everybody's learning something every day. And And, that's another thing is, and I could probably have a whole another podcast on that, is just, remaining humble, and also knowing that, it's okay to admit that you don't know everything. Okay. Actually, my new boss right now, he's so great at this. Like, he will just say, I don't know. This is something new to me. And, but I haven't always had that kind of boss before, but which is really refreshing, by the way. Anyway, I won't go down that tangent. Number 2, track and celebrate your wins. I think this is really important. When my job was eliminated at my the job after 30 years, a woman told me, she said, first of all, Melissa, I want you to think about the 10 things that you've done in your career. And because at first, when I left, I was like, what have I done? When you're off for, a few months, you're like, what did I even do? Like, I can't even remember what all I knew. And it's like, we take for granted what we know. It's like the things that we think everybody knows. Like, if I start talking about managed care contracting, last weekend, a lady from my work said, I was trying to take something very complex and make it very simple. And she was like, I don't even know what you were really talking about. And I was just like, I think it's just things that we take for granted, is that we know all these things in our mind for over 30 years and we think everybody knows these things, but everybody doesn't know these things. So sometimes you have to remind yourself what you're really good at and what have you done throughout your career. So, this lady told me, make a list of the 10 things that you've, accomplished throughout your career. And so, if I think about that, I would just, I could think about taking a company, helping. I was on the senior leadership team my whole career. And so taking a company from, almost nothing, a couple million in revenue to almost $1 billion along with my senior leadership team, or mentoring, 600 women, a group of women at the company, or doing a national sole exclusive agreement with United Healthcare that had never been done in our industry. Like, that was pretty cool. I, helped develop a network of providers all over the country. I helped negotiate, from the beginning, from 0 contracts to 2,000 payer agreements in almost 50 states. And had led a team of about 20 people. So, I thought, yeah, you know what? I have done some cool things. Like, so when we start getting down on ourselves of like, what have we done? We need to remind ourselves all the cool things that we did do along the way. The other thing is, you might also think about, what are the top 3 things that you're really, really good at? So, for me, someone told me to think about that. And I'd say, well, I'm good at developing relationships. I'm good at negotiating. I'm good at advocating, better at advocating for people with disabilities than always myself. But sometimes I'm pretty good at advocating for myself too. So think about the 3 things that you're really good at. And if you can't come up with 3 things that you're really good at, then ask a friend, ask the people that are around you, ask the people that work with you, what would you say that I'm really, really good at? And then keep those, write them down. I actually did this I reached out to like 10 people back when, I was off for a little bit, and I then keep them in front of me. And so that the next time that you get ready to go into a big meeting, or you get ready to, maybe you're just kind of feeling down that day, take a look at that list and remember all the things that you've done along the way in your career. Because again, things that you take for granted, things that you think everybody knows, a lot of people don't know. And it's what you've learned along, your career for those, for me, for 30 plus years. Number 3, I would say improve your communication skills. So this can be written, it could be verbal, it could be presentations, but you have to get better and better at speaking, at presenting information. And so for me, I think about my son had to present for his work, and he literally almost had a panic attack. He was like, I don't want to do this. Like, why do I have to do this? And was freaking out about it. And I was trying to help him along the way. And I've spoken in front of 1,000 people at a presentation, which was literally very stressful. Like, I did not want to do it either. It's, when you have that camera in your face, this was a camera. It was big screens behind me. There were 1,000 people, and they were my colleagues too. It's not like if you have 1,000 strangers in the audience, you can almost be like, okay, if I mess up, then they won't even know I messed up. But not your colleagues and not your boss and your senior leadership team staring at you, because they know everything that's going on at work. And so if you mess up your words or you mess up something, then they will, they could point it out. So it is even more stressful. But anyway, my son was really stressed out about this. And I said, when you do it, you will just build confidence over time because you're taking the small steps to keep doing it each and every day, and keep building, your skill set. And so, he literally like almost lost his mind over this, but then when he, outlined it, he prepared, you have to practice. And when he did that he was finished and his work was like, that was great. You did a great job. And it built confidence in him. So I would tell you, communication is really important. Get better at communicating in written form, in verbal, in presentations. That's always really helpful as well when you're thinking about building your confidence. Number 4, seek feedback and act on it. So I think this is really key. We all have kind of we have blind spots. So we all have things that we don't notice about ourselves, or maybe we purposefully ignore them. I know in my career, I purposefully ignored some of my blind spots. Sometimes your biggest strengths can be your biggest weaknesses. And for me, I can get fired up and advocate for, when I get fired up about people with disabilities, or, I'm trying to convince a health plan to do something that they really don't want to do, I can get really ticked off when they don't want to do what I want them to do. So I have to really watch how much passion I put behind my words and things like that. So I would just say, I've had feedback given to me from bosses and from other people to say, hey, maybe you need to pause. When you feel like you're being triggered, you need to just breathe, before responding quickly. So I think, receiving feedback from people that you trust is really important as well. Number 5, push your comfort zone. Okay, so take on challenges that actually stretch you. I think this is really important. And that's why for me, I started the podcast too. This is something very new. It's different. It's creative. It allows me to put my handprint on something that I developed myself. And, I had to learn how to, put cameras together and learn about all these different platforms, technology platforms that, you can use, and monitors and lighting. And everybody thinks that you just get on here and talk. Well, yes, you can get on your phone and you can do short reels or videos, but when you do a podcast, you really do have to kind of prepare in your mind. Now, for me, sometimes I do better not to I used to try and maybe script it out. Sometimes you're better at just, putting an agenda together and speaking freely. Everybody has their own way of doing things, but I can tell you, you're learning all the equipment, learning a pod track and what is an Atom Mini Pro. I had no idea. And then just setting everything up. It takes discipline to get on a podcast and speak. It takes, courage to get up here. And I remember the first time that I put an episode out, I'm thinking, well, what are people going to say? They're going to say, well, who does she think she is being on a podcast or whatever? People don't know your heart. And so for me, I do this to help other people. I'm doing this for free. And for whatever reason, this morning, I was really praying about this. And I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't have time for this. I'm busy. I know I want to give back to people. I want to help people that can't, I worked with a leadership coach that cost, $65,000 to work with this guy for a year and a half. He worked with CEOs and CFOs. Well, not everybody can afford that. And you know what? I wish I had the money back then and quite frankly, my work paid for this. But I wish I had the money to have worked with a mentor or leadership coach back years ago. And that's why, I wish I would have had a woman mentor too. I always worked for the CEO throughout my whole career, and they were all male, and they're all really good mentors and coaches. I learned a lot from them, but I think there are things that women kind of go through that nobody really can understand except for another woman. So anyway, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here, but I would say, push through your comfort zone. That's why I do the podcast. That's why I want to continue to grow and develop other women who are struggling. I want to give back and help others. And I don't know. That's why I keep pushing myself to learn something new every single day. So confidence really grows through experience and not perfection. That's another reason I would say that, I like the podcast because it allows me to just be me, my authentic self. And I'm not doing this to impress anybody. I'm just doing this to give back and help others. Oh, I guess the whole reason I was talking about me praying and saying, why am I doing this? I felt like I heard God say today, just do it for free. Just get on camera, help other people. You don't have to make money at it. You don't have to have a course done yet. I have all these goals to, build an online course, coach women, help other people from just all the things and the gifts God has given me and everything I've learned along the way. But I don't necessarily have to do it just to get paid for it. This is part of, me giving back. And so if there is something on this podcast that resonated with you, that helped you today, please leave a comment below because it really makes a difference for me. It encourages me to keep doing what I love to do, which is really just help people develop confidence, get unstuck with whatever situation they're in, whether it's a relationship issue, whether it's you've lost a job, you're going from one job to another, you're just down in the dumps and don't know how to get unstuck. I want to help people create a life that they love. And so if this episode resonated with you and helped you in any way, please leave a comment below. I really appreciate all the feedback and have a great day. If you enjoyed this episode of the See the Unseen podcast, please share it with someone else and pay it forward. I encourage you also to leave a comment below as I try and read all of them. So hit the subscribe button if you'd like to receive notifications of new upcoming episodes. And if no one's told you today, you are seen, you are heard, and you are loved. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my podcast with you, and I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode.